At 8:43 on a Tuesday morning, a woman from Boston called and said she had just bought my wedding ring online. I almost laughed. My wedding ring was upstairs, inside a blue velvet box, in the top drawer of my dresser. "Mrs. Spencer," the woman said, "I believe this ring belongs to you. My name is Valerie." "I know. Your name is engraved inside it." My hand went cold. Only Samuel and I knew about that engraving. He had made the ring himself during the first year of our marriage. A sapphire in the center, 2 small diamonds beside it, and 1 private sentence hidden beneath the band. I walked upstairs while the stranger stayed on the line. My daughter, Jennifer, was making coffee in the kitchen. My grandson, Mason, was sitting at the table with his laptop open. Neither of them asked who had called. That should have warned me. I entered my bedroom, opened the dresser, pulled out the blue box. It felt lighter than it should. The ring was gone. I sat on the edge of the bed. The woman introduced herself as Evelyn Whitmore. She had won the online auction for $18,500. But she had not released the payment. "Why not?" I asked. "Because the seller's story didn't make sense." "What story?" "He claimed the ring came from a private estate sale." I looked toward my open bedroom door. Mason had been asking about Samuel's tools for weeks. His watches. His old coins. The handmade jewelry stored in the garage. Then Evelyn said something worse. "The auction photographs were taken inside your home." I stopped breathing for a moment. "How could you know that?" "I'm sending them now." My phone chimed. The first picture showed my ring on Samuel's wooden workbench. The second showed the blue velvet box beside it. And in the curved reflection of the sapphire, I could see part of someone's hand. A young man's hand. Wearing a thick silver class ring. Mason wore that ring every day. I walked back downstairs. Jennifer looked at my face. "What happened?" I placed the empty box on the table. "My wedding ring is missing." Mason closed his laptop. Too quickly. Jennifer did not look at him. She looked at me. "Mom, are you sure you didn't move it?" That was not the question an innocent daughter asks first. Before I tell you what Mason said next, look just below this video. Find the button marked subscribe. On a phone or tablet, tap it once. On a computer, click it once. On a television, use the remote to highlight subscribe, then press OK. When the button changes to subscribed, you are finished. It costs nothing. You may also tap the thumbs up button and write your city in the comments. Then stay with me. Because Mason looked directly into my eyes and said, "Grandma, maybe you sold the ring and forgot. Maybe you sold the ring and forgot." Mason said it gently. That made it worse. He did not sound defensive. He sounded concerned. Jennifer reached for my hand. "Mom, you have been under a lot of stress." I pulled my hand away. "My husband made that ring." "I know," she said. "Then why would I sell it?" Neither of them answered. Mason reopened his laptop. "I was only saying it is possible." "No," I said. "You were saying I cannot trust my own memory." Jennifer sighed. "Please do not turn this into an accusation." I looked at the empty velvet box. Then at my grandson's silver class ring. The same thick ring reflected in Evelyn's photograph. "Mason, were you in Samuel's garage?" He leaned back. "I go in there all the time." "Why?" "To help organize things." "I never asked you to organize anything." Jennifer stood between us. He was trying to help. That had become her favorite explanation. They had moved into my house 5 months earlier. Jennifer said a pipe had burst in their apartment. She promised it would be for 2 weeks. Then the repairs were delayed. The landlord stopped returning calls. Their temporary stay became permanent without anyone ever saying so. I paid for the groceries. The electricity rose by nearly $180 a month. I covered Mason's car insurance after Jennifer said he might lose his job without transportation. Whenever I asked when they planned to leave, Jennifer kissed my cheek and said, "Soon, Mom." Now they were standing in my kitchen, telling me I may have forgotten selling my own wedding ring. My phone rang again. Evelyn. I stepped into the hallway before answering. "The auction company contacted the seller," she said. "He insists the ring was legally purchased from you." "What name did he use?" There was a pause. "M. Spencer. Mason Spencer. My grandson." "The payment is still frozen," Evelyn continued. "But only until 3 this afternoon unless you file a formal ownership claim." I checked the clock. 9:12. Less than 6 hours. "What do they need?" "Proof the ring belonged to you." "I have photographs." "Send everything." "Wedding pictures. Insurance records. Any document describing the engraving." I looked toward the kitchen. Jennifer had closed the door. They were speaking quietly inside. Then Evelyn added, "There is something else." "What?" "The shipping label lists your home as the return address." "My own address. My own last name. My own property being used to make the sale look legitimate." I thanked Evelyn and ended the call. When I returned to the kitchen, Mason was gone. His laptop was gone too. Jennifer stood beside the sink. "Where did he go?" "He needed some air." "With 6 hours before the payment clears?" Her face changed. "Only slightly. But I saw it." "You knew about the auction," I said. "No. You knew enough to protect him." She looked down at the counter. Then I noticed a folded shipping receipt beneath her purse. The top line was visible. Boston, Massachusetts. And the date was yesterday. The shipping receipt was still warm from the printer. Jennifer reached for it. I picked it up first. The package had been mailed the previous afternoon. From Willow Creek, Indiana. To Boston, Massachusetts. Weight, 4 ounces. Contents, vintage jewelry. My daughter stared at the counter. "Mom, I can explain." "Then explain." She opened her mouth. Nothing came out. I turned the receipt over. On the back was a handwritten tracking number. The first 6 digits matched the number Evelyn had sent me. Jennifer had not only seen the package. She had handled it. "Did you go with Mason?" I asked. "No." "Did you know what was inside?" "No." "Then why was this under your purse?" Her voice sharpened. "He asked me to mail something." "You mailed a box without asking what it contained?" "He is my son. And I am your mother." That stopped her. For 1 second, guilt crossed her face. Then she replaced it with concern. "Mom, you are upset. Maybe we should sit down." I almost laughed. They had taken my ring. Now they wanted me seated and quiet. I carried the receipt into Samuel's garage. His workbench remained exactly as he had left it. Small files lined the wall. A wooden mallet rested beside a polishing wheel. The room still smelled faintly of cedar and machine oil. I opened the top drawer. Samuel kept a notebook there. Every piece he made had a page. Date. Metal. Stone. Measurements. And the private engraving. I found the wedding ring entry beneath a photograph taken in 1978. Blue sapphire. 14-karat gold. 2 small diamonds. Inside inscription. "Where you are, I am home." My hands shook when I read it. That sentence had never appeared in an insurance file. Never in a photograph. Never outside our marriage. It was proof no seller could invent. I photographed the page and called the auction platform. A representative named Thomas reviewed my claim. The documentation is helpful, he said. But the seller has submitted messages suggesting you gave him permission to value and sell family items. What messages? He sent them to me. One was real. 3 weeks earlier, Mason had asked, "Can I photograph Grandpa's old things for insurance estimates?" I had replied, "Yes, but do not sell anything." The screenshot he submitted ended after the word yes. Everything after it had been removed. He changed the message, I said. "We will need the full conversation exported from your phone." "How long will that take?" "Possibly several hours." The clock read 10:28. The payment deadline remained 3 o'clock. I exported the conversation and emailed it. Then I noticed another message farther down. Mason had written, "Mom says Grandma won't notice one item missing." I had never seen it before. It was not sent to me. It appeared because Mason had accidentally included me in a family group chat, then deleted the thread. But my phone had preserved the notification preview. I walked back into the kitchen. Jennifer was no longer there. Her purse was gone. So was the shipping receipt. Then Evelyn called again. "Valerie," she said, "the package just arrived. And the ring inside was not yours." Evelyn's voice was steady. "The ring in the package is not yours." I gripped the edge of Samuel's workbench. "How do you know?" "The engraving is missing." I closed my eyes. "Anything else?" "The sapphire is glass. The gold is plated. And the setting is machine-made." The auction photographs showed Samuel's ring. But the package contained a copy. Mason had listed the real ring. Then shipped a fake one. That meant my wedding ring was still somewhere nearby. Or already promised to someone else. Evelyn sent me photographs of the package. The return label carried my address. The sender name was listed as Valerie Spencer. Mason had used my identity twice. First to make the ring look legally owned. Then to make the shipment appear as though it came directly from me. "I'm calling the auction platform again," Evelyn said. "So am I." This time, the representative sounded less certain. "The buyer is reporting an item mismatch," Thomas explained. "The seller claims the buyer may have exchanged the ring after delivery." "He is blaming her?" "He has submitted a dispute." "And my ownership claim?" "Still under review." The payment remained frozen. But the platform would not release the seller's personal information without a formal report. I had proof of the engraving. Proof the listing photographs were taken in Samuel's garage. And proof Mason had altered my message. Still, no one could tell me where the real ring was. I went upstairs to Mason's room. The door was locked. It had never been locked before he moved in. I used the small emergency key from the hallway cabinet. The room smelled of stale coffee and laundry detergent. His closet held expensive sneakers still inside their boxes. A new gaming monitor sat on the desk. On the floor was a stack of unopened mail. Most envelopes carried red notices. One came from an online betting service. Another was from a collection agency. I did not open them. I did not need to. Beside the printer was a sheet of unused shipping labels. My name and address were already printed on every one. Then I noticed a business card beneath the keyboard. Willow Creek Gold and Loan. On the back, someone had written, "Need proof of ownership. Do not return without it, ****. The pawn shop had refused Mason. So he tried the auction. But after Evelyn froze the payment, he must have changed plans. My phone buzzed. A message from Jennifer. "Please do not call the police. Mason made a mistake. Let me bring him home and we can handle this privately, ***. I read it twice. Not. What happened? Not. I believe you. She already knew what he had done. I called her. She answered from inside a moving car. Where is the ring? I don't know. You mailed the fake. Mason said it was a return. Where is the real one? She began crying. Then I heard him in the background. Mom, hang up. I raised my voice. Mason, where is my ring? For several seconds, only road noise answered me. Then he said, "You'll get it back when you stop the claim." The line went dead. My grandson was no longer pretending I had forgotten. He was using Samuel's ring to force me into silence. I saved Mason's words before the call disappeared. "You'll get it back when you stop the claim." Then I called the Willow Creek police. An officer named Harris arrived 20 minutes later. He listened carefully. He photographed Samuel's notebook. The empty velvet box. The shipping labels printed with my name. And the card from the pawn shop. But when I asked whether he could immediately recover the ring, his answer was cautious. Mason lived in this house for 5 months. And he had regular access to the garage? Yes. That makes the ownership dispute more complicated at first. It is my wedding ring. I believe you. But we still need the platform records and the full seller information. Another wall. Not because the truth was unclear. Because Mason had wrapped it in just enough family access to create delay. Officer Harris gave me a report number. "Do not withdraw the auction claim," he said. "And do not meet him alone." After he left, Jennifer returned. Without Mason. She stood inside the kitchen door holding her purse against her chest. "Where is he?" I asked. "In the car." I looked through the window. The driveway was empty. Jennifer sat down. "Mason owes money." "How much?" $26,400. The number seemed to embarrass her. Not what he had done. Only the size of it. "He lost his job 2 months ago," she continued. "He was afraid to tell anyone. So he sold Samuel's ring. He thought he could replace it before you noticed." "With a glass copy?" Her eyes filled. "I told him to put it back." "When?" 3 days ago." That answer changed everything. "You knew before the auction ended." "I knew he photographed it." "And yesterday?" She looked down. "He said the real ring was already back in your dresser." "You still mailed the fake package." I believed him. "No. You chose not to check." Jennifer began crying. "He is my son. And I am still your mother." She wiped her face. "If you keep pushing this, he could lose everything. He used my name. He panicked. He threatened me. He is desperate." Every sentence protected Mason. Not one protected me. I leaned forward. "Where is the ring now?" "I don't know." Her phone vibrated on the table. She reached for it too late. The message appeared across the screen. Buyer moved the meeting to 12:30. Indianapolis. Don't bring grandma, ****. The sender was Mason. I read it aloud. Jennifer's face went white. The clock above my stove showed 11:06. Indianapolis was nearly 90 miles away. I had less than 90 minutes. "Who is the buyer?" I asked. Jennifer grabbed her phone. "I can't tell you." "You mean you won't?" She stood. "Mom, please let me fix this. You had 3 days." I picked up my keys and the police report. Jennifer stepped in front of the door. For one terrible moment, my own daughter was not trying to save her son from a bad decision. She was trying to stop me from saving the last thing Samuel had made for me. Jennifer stayed between me and the front door. "Move," I said. "Mom, you're upset." "I am clear." She did not move. So I took out my phone and called Officer Harris. Jennifer stepped aside before he answered. I told him about Mason's message. A private buyer. 12:30. Indianapolis. Officer Harris asked for the meeting address. I don't have it. Jennifer looked away. I put the call on speaker. Your daughter may know, he said. But without a location, Indianapolis officers cannot intervene. I looked at Jennifer. You can help me now, or explain later why you refused. Her eyes filled again. He said it was only a jeweler. What jeweler? A man named Leo Vance. Where? She opened her phone. The message thread had been deleted. But Mason had sent the address through a calendar invitation. The Meridian Hotel. Downtown Indianapolis. Officer Harris contacted local police and gave me a case number. Do not confront anyone alone, he warned. I left at 11:14. Jennifer followed me to the driveway. Let me drive. No. You're too upset. That is the third time today you have used my emotions to question my judgment. She stopped. I got into my car. Then Evelyn called. I found the original appraisal, she said. What appraisal? The Sapphire. She explained that Samuel had once apprenticed in Boston under Evelyn's father, a jeweler named Arthur Whitmore. The sapphire in my ring had belonged to Evelyn's grandmother. After the old family brooch was damaged, Evelyn's mother gave the stone to Samuel as payment for months of repair work he had done without charging them. He cut the stone himself, Evelyn said. The shape is slightly uneven on the lower right edge. I remembered that edge. Samuel used to call it the sapphire's heartbeat. Evelyn emailed me a photograph dated 1976. The same stone. The same unusual cut. The same tiny mark Samuel later engraved beneath the setting. Now I had proof older than my marriage. At 12:18, I reached the Meridian Hotel. 2 Indianapolis officers met me near the lobby entrance. Jennifer arrived behind me in her car. The coffee shop manager recognized Mason from the photograph on my phone. He was here, she said. He left about 10 minutes ago with another man. Did you hear where they were going? She hesitated. The other man said he needed proper tools before paying. Jennifer covered her mouth. I turned to her. What kind of tools? She looked at the floor. Leo buys stones, she whispered. Not jewelry. My chest tightened. He removes them from the settings? She nodded. Samuel's inscription was inside the gold band. If Leo separated the sapphire and melted the setting, the ring would never come home whole. Then Jennifer's phone chimed. A new message from Mason appeared. He wants the stone tested first. We're going to his workshop. Don't tell Grandma, **** below the message was a location pin. And a second line. He says the band goes into the furnace at 1. The location pin led us to a narrow jewelry workshop on the south side of Indianapolis. It sat behind a tire store. No sign. No front display. Only a steel door and a small camera above it. The officers knocked first. A man in a gray apron opened the door. Leo Vance. He looked past them and saw Jennifer. Then me. His expression changed. I haven't done anything, he said. Where is my grandson? I asked. A chair moved inside. Mason stepped into view. He held a small black pouch. My ring was inside it. I knew before he opened it. Samuel's sapphire caught the light. For 1 second, relief weakened my knees. Then Mason closed the pouch again. It's mine to sell, he said. I stared at him. You used my name. You gave me permission. No. He took out his phone. I have the message. He showed it to the officers. Can I photograph Grandpa's things and see what they're worth? My reply appeared beneath it. Yes. Nothing else. The rest had been cut away. The officer looked at me. Do you have the full conversation? I sent it to the auction platform. Do you have it here? My phone was still uploading the exported file. The signal inside the workshop was weak. Mason saw the delay. He became calmer. Grandma told me to handle the old jewelry, he said. She changed her mind after the auction price went up. Jennifer stood beside me. Silent. Leo opened both hands. I was only asked to test the stone. Were you going to remove it? One officer asked. Not until ownership was clear. Mason looked at his mother. Tell them. Jennifer's face tightened. Tell them what? I asked. He stepped closer to her. That Grandma asked us to sell some of Grandpa's things. Jennifer had a choice. The truth. Or one more lie. She looked at the ring. Then at Mason. Finally, she looked at me. Mom did say we could get estimates. Mason smiled. I felt something inside me settle. Not break. Settle. Estimates, I said. Not sales. Jennifer lowered her eyes. The officer asked Mason to hand over the pouch while they reviewed the report. He refused. It's my property until this is settled. Leo stepped away from him. I don't want that ring in my shop. Mason moved toward the door. The officers blocked his path. Then my phone chimed. The full message export had arrived. I opened it. There was my complete reply. Yes, photograph them for insurance estimates. Do not sell, remove, or ship anything, ***. Beneath it was another message. One I had forgotten. Jennifer had replied in the same family thread. I understand. I'll make sure Mason doesn't touch the ring, ***. I turned the screen toward her. You promised me. Jennifer stared at her own words. Mason's face hardened. Mom, don't say anything. But Jennifer was no longer looking at him. She was looking at the black pouch in his hand. And for the first time that day, she understood that protecting her son now meant destroying the last piece of trust she still had with me. Jennifer stared at the message she had written weeks earlier. I'll make sure Mason doesn't touch the ring. The workshop went silent. One of the officers held out his hand. Mason, place the pouch on the counter. Mason looked at his mother. Jennifer did not speak. Slowly, he set the pouch down. The officer opened it. Samuel's ring rested inside. The sapphire was still in place. The gold band had not been cut. I wanted to reach for it. But the officer stopped me gently. We need to document it first. I nodded. The ring was only 6 feet away. Yet it still did not feel safe. The second officer turned to Jennifer. When did you first know he had taken it? She wiped her face. 3 days ago. I felt the answer before I understood it. 3 days. She had eaten dinner with me. Used my washing machine. Asked me to pay for groceries. All while knowing Samuel's ring was gone. You told him to return it? The officer asked. Yes. Mason laughed once. That is not what happened. Jennifer looked at him. Stop. He pointed toward her purse. Ask her who opened the auction account. The officer did. Jennifer remained silent. Mason answered for her. The account is in her name. I turned toward my daughter. You created it? He could not pass the identity check, she whispered. So you used yours. I thought the ring would sell quickly. I thought we could replace it before you noticed. We? Her eyes closed. That single word changed the room. This was no longer a mother discovering her son's mistake. Jennifer had helped him turn my marriage into money. The officer asked where the auction payment was supposed to go. Jennifer removed a bank card from her wallet. A joint checking account. Her name. Mason's name. The money had never been going only to him. How much were you keeping? I asked. Mom, please. How much? 5,000. Mason shook his head. She wanted 8. Jennifer turned on him. You said the debt collectors were calling your job. You said you needed money for an apartment. Their protection of each other disappeared the moment the truth became expensive. I looked at Jennifer. You let me pay your bills while you planned to sell Samuel's ring. She covered her mouth. I was going to put everything back. You cannot put back trust after melting it down. The officers sealed the ring inside an evidence envelope. Because the ownership claim, false shipment, and payment dispute were all active, they could not return it to me that day. Another delay. Another person deciding when I could hold what already belonged to me. Then Evelyn called. I answered on speaker. The auction company found an earlier voicemail, she said. What voicemail? One I left at your home yesterday. Jennifer's face changed. Evelyn continued. A woman answered. I told her I believed the ring was stolen. I looked at my daughter. You spoke to Evelyn before she called me. Jennifer began crying again. But this time, the tears could not hide the order of events. She had known. She had been warned. And she had chosen to delete the message. Jennifer had deleted Evelyn's warning. That mattered more than the money. It proved she had known the ring might be stolen before the auction ended. One of the officers asked Evelyn to repeat the call. I phoned the number listed on the seller account, she said. A woman answered. I told her the ring carried a maker's mark connected to my family. I asked whether Valerie Spencer had approved the sale. Jennifer pressed both hands against her face. What did she say? The officer asked. She said Valerie was resting. Then she told me the ring had been given to the family. That was not true, I said. No, Evelyn replied. It was not. The officer looked at Jennifer. Did you delete the voicemail? Jennifer nodded. Mason stepped forward. She was protecting me. No, I said. She was protecting the sale. That silenced him. Evelyn then explained why she had recognized the ring so quickly. Her father, Arthur Whitmore, had owned a small jewelry shop in Boston. Samuel worked there in the 1970s. He was not yet a master jeweler. He swept floors, polished settings, and practiced cutting stones after closing time. The sapphire had once belonged to Evelyn's grandmother. It sat inside an old brooch damaged during a move. Samuel repaired the metalwork. But the stone no longer fit the original setting. Arthur planned to sell it. Evelyn's mother refused. She said Samuel had treated the stone with more patience than anyone else, Evelyn told us. So she gave it to him. I remembered Samuel telling me the sapphire had found him. I never knew what he meant. Evelyn emailed a scanned photograph. Samuel stood behind the Boston shop counter. He looked 25. Thin. Serious. The sapphire rested in his palm. On the back of the photograph, Arthur had written one sentence. For the ring he says he will make for the woman he loves. My throat tightened. Samuel had begun planning my ring before he proposed. Before we chose a house. Before we knew whether we could afford children. Mason looked at the photograph. For the first time, he seemed uncomfortable. But discomfort was not remorse. The officer asked whether Evelyn could verify the stone without removing it. Yes, she said. The lower right edge has a shallow double cut. Arthur documented it. Leo examined the sapphire through a small magnifier. After several seconds, he stepped back. She is right. He showed the officers the double cut. Then he found Samuel's tiny maker's mark beneath the setting. The ring was mine. The proof was complete. But the officer still sealed it again. The platform needs to release the ownership hold, he said. How long? Possibly until tomorrow. Mason gave a quiet smile. Then his phone rang. He looked at the screen. The color left his face. The auction platform had frozen more than the ring payment. They had frozen every active sale on his account. And one of those listings showed Samuel's gold watch. Samuel's gold watch was still active on Mason's account. So were 3 other listings. A pair of cuff links. A silver pocket knife. And the small brass compass Samuel carried during every family trip. I knew each photograph. They had all been taken on his workbench. The same gray wood. The same green lamp. The same corner of his old leather apron. How many things did you take? I asked. Mason looked at Jennifer. She looked away. The officer took Mason's phone and reviewed the listings. 2 items had already sold. The cuff links were being shipped to Ohio. The compass was headed to Tennessee. The watch had received an offer for $9,000. My knees nearly weakened. Not because of the value. Samuel wore that watch when Jennifer was born. He checked it every 10 minutes while pacing the hospital hallway. He wore it to her graduation. He wore it the night she introduced us to Mason's father. Jennifer knew all of that. You helped him list the watch too, I said. She whispered, I only took the pictures. That is helping. Mason crossed his arms. Grandpa left boxes of things no one used. They were not abandoned, I said. They were mine. The auction platform called while we were still inside the workshop. A fraud specialist named Denise spoke to the officers first. Then she addressed me. We have suspended the seller account and stopped all unpaid transactions. What about the items already shipped? We are contacting the buyers now. And the payment deadline? The $18,500 payment will not be released. For the first time that day, the clock stopped controlling me. But Denise had one more question. Mrs. Spencer, did you authorize a withdrawal from your checking account last Friday? I had not. The amount was $3,200. The transfer had gone into the same joint account used for the auction. Jennifer sat down hard. Mason told me you agreed to lend us that money. I never did. Mason turned toward her. You said she would not notice. Jennifer stared at him. Then at me. Her face changed. Not into innocence. Into realization. Mason had lied to her too. But her pain did not erase what she had done. The officers contacted my bank. The transfer had been approved using my online password. A confirmation code had been sent to my home phone. Jennifer admitted she had read the code aloud while I was outside watering the flowers. She claimed Mason said it was for his insurance account. Another ordinary moment. Another choice not to ask. The officer placed Mason's phone inside an evidence bag. Then he asked Jennifer to surrender her bank card. She did. Mason watched everything disappear. The account. The sale. The ring. The story that I had forgotten. Still, he refused to apologize. Instead, he looked at me and said, You always cared more about Grandpa's things than your own family. I stepped closer. No, Mason. I cared enough about my family to trust you. Then Denise called again. One buyer had already received Samuel's cuff links. And that buyer refused to return them. The buyer in Ohio refused to return Samuel's cuff links. He said he had paid in good faith. He had already given them to his son. Denise from the auction platform stayed calm. The sale was connected to a disputed account, she explained. We will refund you in full after the item is returned. The buyer still refused. Then Evelyn asked to speak with him. I do not know exactly what she said. But 5 minutes later, he agreed to mail the cuff links back. The compass buyer responded next. She had not opened the package. She carried it directly to a shipping store and sent it back that afternoon. The watch had never left Indiana. The platform canceled the sale before Mason could ship it. One by one, Samuel's belongings stopped moving away from me. The ring remained sealed as evidence until Officer Harris received confirmation from the auction company. At 4:17, he called. The ownership hold has been released. I returned to the Willow Creek station before sunset. Officer Harris placed the evidence envelope on the desk. I signed 2 forms. Then he opened it. Samuel's ring rested inside. For several seconds, I could not touch it. I remembered his hands shaping the gold. The nights he stayed in the garage after work. The way he smiled when he slid it onto my finger. I finally picked it up. The sapphire felt cool. The band still carried the tiny mark from 46 years of marriage. And inside were the words Mason had tried to turn into money. Where you are, I am home. I put the ring back on. Then I drove home. Jennifer was waiting in the kitchen. 2 suitcases stood beside the door. Mason was upstairs packing. I told him we have to leave, she said. You both do. Her face tightened. Tonight? Yes. Mom, we have nowhere ready. You had 5 months to prepare. She looked toward the stairs. He needs help. So do you. She began to speak. I raised my hand. Not money. Not excuses. Real help. Jennifer sat down. I deleted Evelyn's message because I was afraid. You were afraid Mason would face consequences. She nodded. You were not afraid of what this would do to me. Her silence answered. Mason came downstairs carrying a duffel bag. He saw the ring on my finger. His eyes stayed there. I said you would get it back. No, I replied. You said I would get it back only if I stopped protecting myself. He looked toward Jennifer. She did not defend him. For the first time, he stood alone with what he had done. I placed 2 envelopes on the table. One contained a 30-day hotel reservation. The other contained the number for a financial counselor. I will give you a safe place to sleep, I said. I will not pay your debts. Jennifer started crying. Mason did not. He picked up both envelopes. Then I held out my hand. The house key. He removed it from his pocket. Jennifer placed hers beside it. Before midnight, they were gone. And for the first time in 5 months, every locked door in my house belonged to me again. 6 months later, Samuel's cufflinks returned from Ohio. The brass compass came back from Tennessee. His gold watch never left Indiana. I placed everything inside a locked cabinet in his workshop. Then I hired an appraiser. Not because I planned to sell anything. Because love should never be confused with poor record-keeping. Every item was photographed. Every description was signed. Every document was stored in 2 places. I changed the locks. I changed my passwords. I added alerts to every bank account. And I removed Jennifer as my emergency financial contact. That last decision hurt the most. But boundaries are not revenge. They are instructions for how people may enter your life. Jennifer found a small apartment across town. She started working full-time again. For the first month, she called every day. Most calls began with an apology. Some ended with an excuse. I stopped accepting apologies that contained the word "but." After a while, she understood. Mason took a job at an auto parts warehouse. The auction platform closed his account. He entered a debt repayment program. He sent me $100 each month toward the money taken from my bank. I returned every payment. Not because I forgave the debt. Because the bank had already restored the funds. Instead, I told him to repay the hotel cost and the counseling fees. He needed to understand that responsibility was not a speech. It was a habit. Mason asked to visit twice. I said no the first time. I agreed the second time. We met at a diner. Not at my house. He looked older than he had 6 months earlier. He apologized without blaming his mother. Without blaming his debt. Without blaming me for keeping Samuel's belongings. That was the first apology I believed. But I did not give him a key. Trust does not return because someone finally tells the truth. It returns slowly. One choice at a time. Evelyn and I began speaking every Sunday. That spring, she visited Indiana. We sat inside Samuel's workshop with the sapphire ring between us. She brought the original photograph of Samuel in her father's jewelry store. I placed it beside his notebook. Two pieces of his life had found each other after nearly 50 years. Before Evelyn left, she touched my hand. "Your husband made something stronger than a ring," she said. What was that? A way for the truth to recognize itself. I still wear the ring every day. The small uneven edge of the sapphire catches the morning light. Samuel once called it the stone's heartbeat. Now I understand why. Perfect things can be copied. Real things carry marks. So do families. Some marks remind us of love. Others remind us where trust was broken. Jennifer and Mason are still part of my family. But they are no longer allowed to define what family requires me to endure. And that is where my story ends. But I still wonder about one thing. Was Jennifer more responsible because she knew the truth and helped Mason hide it? Or should a mother receive another chance after choosing her child over her own parent? Tell me what you would have done in my place.